website at consignmentboca.com.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the...
Okay, I'm going to get to my first guest here. This is Michael Miller, and he is the founder and CEO of Sound Health. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay, and he was talking to me a little bit before the show about the things he is up to, and it was actually incredible. I didn't even know that some of these things existed. So you want to explain it to us?
Sure. What's so in the world is that there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of medical innovations that will be forever locked up in the drawer of the doctor that invented it.
I see. You were telling that to me, and I couldn't believe the things that are out there that we don't know about and that we can't utilize here in the United States.
It's not just that we can't utilize them in the United States. These miracles literally may never be able to get past the doctor or the inventor's hands because they're lacking some key things, usually funding,
right,
or expertise in marketing or scientific validation.
Right, just proving that it works.
Right, and in that world, unbiased scientific validation, meaning he didn't do the validation, someone else did. So what's crazy is that so much of this exists out there that it's almost frustrating. And when you learn about it, you really want to get involved and make a difference.
And
in the
how
world.
do you find out about these things?
Well, the crazy part about this is, life happens for reasons. And I found myself at the intersection of getting unbiased scientific validation done for something that I was up to. And I was approached by other people that had a similar problem, saying, boy, if only we had access to this. So we put together a platform that's unique at Sound Health that enables us to be able to look at these innovations, assess them, and bring the resources that are missing. That could be expertise, it could be design, it could be business model, could be a flaw, or the form factor, or a number of reasons or a number of things that are missing. We bring those to the table and then source the unbiased scientific validation through a research institute that we also crafted.
And how do you get the funding for that?
Well, since it's a 501c3, it's philanthropically driven.
Okay.
So let me share with you a vision that I have. So the vision is to improve the human condition around the world. But what really becomes cool is that all this innovation, these miracles from around the world, are coming to us here in Florida. So if you look at what the vision is to improve the human condition, we can add from Florida. And we can then change the narrative of what Florida's known for. We can become the medical philanthropic capital of the world. So let me share with you some things that are just will really...
I already saw a couple of things there at the beginning that I hope you're going to talk about before we went on air that are pretty amazing.
A fun conversation is things that are taken for granted in one country are an absolute miracle in another. And for a long time, there was no communication. We lived in pockets.
Okay.
One such medical miracle is one that we're just bringing into the market now, that for the past 30 years, the country of Bulgaria has a treatment for certain types of cancers. And they have treated thousands of people successfully. And it is the standard of care in that country.
Is it a cure for cancers or
just
a treatment?
So I'm not qualified to say cures or what have you, but it is their standard of treatment that when this injection vaccine is given, the tumors go away. And this isn't anecdotal data. This is thousands of people, thousands of pieces of data, 30 years. It's what's so. It's taken for granted. So in that country...
And what types of cancer?
There is a list. So cancer is a very involved conversation that I'm certainly not qualified to go into. But the point is that that thing that is taken for granted in that country is an absolute miracle to the country next door to them that doesn't have access to it. Even though it's approved by those countries for sale, it's just not available. So where we come in at Sound Health is to take that innovation and to get it vetted and to be able to scientifically validate, unbiased, that it actually does what it says, and then bring it to the global distributors to share with the rest of the world. So my mission is not how do I fix problems in my backyard. Our game is the globe. And improving the human condition is not local. That's the mission.
Okay. Can you tell me about the melanoma treatment? Because I found that very interesting. This is Florida. There's a lot of melanoma.
Right.
And you say that there is a cure available?
The treatment is what I'm talking about right now, which is called this cat traps vaccine. And melanoma is one of the types of cancers that is treated with this innovation.
Oh, so that same one can treat other cancers too?
Correct.
Wow.
And it's based on a technology that's been around for a long time called BCG. But please, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm the visionary.
Okay.
So I have the vision. It's
All
how
right.
do we take these medical miracles, bring them to the people that vet them, and then posture them into the marketplace where the global distribution companies come in and say, well, if you show me that it works, prove that it does, we know how to distribute it. Mm-hmm. So if you will, we're the melting pot. We are the center point where the innovation comes to for that vetting.
Okay.
And then from Sound Health's side, what we do is we fill the equation with subject matter experts that are not the inventors to help to bring that unbiased science to
validate
fruition.
the product.
Exactly.
Okay.
All I am is the person that has the ability to understand the missing relationships that make this work,
And you are funded philanthropically?
primarily.
Okay.
For that, so that research is philanthropically funded.
Okay.
The company is privately funded, but research is philanthropically funded that is earmarked, goes to a university, do a specific, there are milestones being met.
Mm-hmm.
There's an entire methodology of how that occurs. But at the
Okay.
end, the result is either it works or it doesn't.
doesn't.
There's no incentive in the outcome of that.
Now, have
study.
you vetted this one that we were talking about?
The ones that I have shared with you, yes. So the ones that are in the process that are currently available to market have been vetted.
That's very exciting.
Yes, it is.
So,
So
are
let
you
me share-
moving toward bringing these,
Yes.
making these available?
So the two that are available right now that we're looking for a buyer for is the vaccine I just talked about, which is a cancer class type of a treatment.
And you inject that right into the tumor or the site where the
So I'm afraid of needles, so I wouldn't inject anything.
Botox, all that stuff. Okay.
The way it's administered is I'm not qualified to
Okay.
talk about how that occurs,
right.
but from my pedestrian point of view,
It's
is
injected
a
into
vaccine.
the tumor.
Correct.
Okay.
The second one is equally as exciting. The number one killer in the world is heart disease.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the silent killer because you only know that you're having a heart attack when
Once
you're
you have
having
it.
the heart attack,
Sure.
right? Unfortunately, survivors of massive heart attacks, it's a very expensive illness to have. It's like $1 million in personal cost.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if you could detect the hardening of the arteries at the age 18.
So you would know when you're 18.
If
In
you-
other words, I could have my sons tested,
Correct.
find out if they're going to be
Right.
victims of heart disease in the future.
So the next product that we are in the market right now looking for a buyer for is a diagnostic device that was vetted at the NIH that is FDA cleared. It's covered by almost all the major insurance companies. It has a copay code, and it's recommended to be tested annually on your patients to
Wow,
see
on everybody.
if they have this disease taking place in the body 30 years ahead of the next potential test.
Okay, so you were explaining to me how this works. It's not a blood test.
No, it is. It uses blood pressures and a proprietary algorithm that enables these pressures to be go into a formula to provide a very accurate outcome of the hardening of these arterial walls. Now, once again, so that's not my specialty of knowing
Right.
the science. My specialty was finding the opportunities, getting them validated, putting the right science behind it, putting the right team behind it to make
So it's
it
already
work.
been approved.
Yes.
It can be used in the United States. There's already a code for it, so
Absolutely, yes.
doctors can
Correct.
order this test.
That is correct.
They're reimbursed for it.
Yep,
So it's a real thing.
it is. It
Can
is.
we go order it now?
Yes,
through our doc?
and there are doctors that already have it in their offices. So
What's it called?
It's
In case anyone wants to order
sure,
this test.
It's called the Soteriogram. Now,
Soteriogram,
So
okay.
it's already available. Mm-hmm. However, to scale large, it's nearly impossible for a company to scale large today, right? You need a lot of money, you need distribution, you need all that kind of stuff. So those companies come to me and say, we've got the technology. If it works, and we prove that it does, we bring that to find the buyer. Mm-hmm. Now, what I know, while I may not be a doctor, I do know this, that everyone is in pursuit of some type of an unfair competitive advantage when it comes to selling. So when you're talking about intellectual property, That's the holy grail, because only one company will be able to offer any of these things I'm talking about. So imagine if you're in the blood pressure device business, right? Right now, it's a race to zero. You're competing on price. Only one company will be able to come out and create an entire market channel and own the price. So when a doctor is looking at buying these diagnostic devices, when they look at this one, it's a potential revenue channel, and it brings them into the wellness business. And I'll tell you, as a father, I want to know what's up with my kids so that they can make decisions in their life to not have outcomes that would be terrible.
Okay, so let's say an 18-year-old is diagnosed with this, saying that he will have heart disease in the future. Then what?
Well, they're going to say you have it. You have
They'll tell you definitely. Wow.
Yeah, this is what's happening. This is what's so. Well, now you can make life decisions. Maybe you're going to change your diet. Maybe you're going to exercise. Maybe you're going to be less sedentary. Maybe you're going to be aware of what you're consuming in your body. Look, obviously, the whole show is about wellness, and it's about health, right? So you make decisions every day on how you're going to live.
Would you be tested periodically, like once a year?
Sure. So the doctor then uses that information.
It is a good revenue producer.
Oh, my God. The doctor takes that information to say, now we got to put you on a program and see how we're going to make sure that we manage your life so that you don't have a catastrophe where your world blows up with, some coronary explosion, a heart disease.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what's exciting.
That's an interesting one. Now, you were telling me about a cosmetic invention for toenails. Like if you lose, I thought this was fascinating.
This is really cool, too.
Yeah.
So I don't control what we get to look at.
Yeah.
And there's no shortage of things coming to us on a weekly basis.
How do people find you?
Well, we are the only game in town that does this, right? So around the world, we're the only one-stop source where you can come get your innovation, unbiased scientific validation added to it, and bring it to the market. No one else has those types of capacities as a one-stop shop that we have. Word of mouth is important. It's a very small world in the innovator space. And however that's happening, we don't have a shortage of things coming into us, that's for sure. And we've been collecting these things for the last couple of years. So it's 18 months now that the first one's dripping out.
Okay.
And that's like I said, the drug and the vaccine, and now this the blood.
Those two are fascinating. And
So
tell
let's
us
tell you-
about the
let's talk about the
prosthetic
nail.
toenail.
Okay.
This was, I wouldn't have even thought of this.
When this came in, the patents have been awarded, and I'm thinking, geez, do people really have a problem where they don't have a fingernail or a toenail and they can't grow? And I start noticing, I have friends that are missing. Like,
See, I don't know anybody, but maybe I do because I've never looked. But I would imagine that would be a real problem.
And certain illnesses create conditions where you'll lose a toenail or an accident, or maybe you were born without one.
I dropped a weight on my toe once, lost a toenail, but it came back.
Frankly, I never show off my toes. I'm just.
This is Florida.
So what's really cool is this doctor invented and was awarded these patents for a prosthetic nail.
I know, I saw the picture.
And it just goes right in, and it's just like a regular nail. Except for you never have to trim it, but you paint it like a regular nail, and it's just is seated almost like a dental implant.
Wow.
It's really cool. And that one is in the validation process. So, the claims that they have to be validated independently. That's really neat stuff.
Wow. Any more you can tell us about?
I can share with you another really cool one. So there's one that's called magnetic memory.
Oh, you were talking about this. No, wait a minute. This is good. Go ahead. And it's for people with Alzheimer's, right?
It is for people with Alzheimer's. It was originally the concept or the purpose of this is to accelerate learning. And it's essentially...
I would think it would have a couple of applications based on what you told me.
It has some enormous applications.
Right.
The treatment that we're about to validate with unbiased scientific validation to meet the claims of the inventor is that the person's forgotten memories can be re-brought back onto the brain and re-encoded on the brain. And how it's done is that there is a proprietary formula of drugs that are given to the patient over time to create the right chemical condition in the brain. And then the patient is put in a chair with what looks like you're in the Matrix, and like a helmet goes on your head. And in that helmet is the content of what is going to go back into your mind.
So you're talking about an Alzheimer's patient who has lost their memory.
So you've got an early onset patient that does not know their name, does not know that the person that drove them to the appointment is their husband for 45 years, does not know their phone number, does not know their address.
Can you teach them things like how to put their clothes on, how to brush their hair, brush their teeth, all that? You can reintroduce that into their memory?
So there is a test that is the standard test that's given to someone that says you have Alzheimer's, right? So there's those key questions. Over a 10-week process with 2 treatments a week in this condition, the person's life is recurated onto their brain in areas of the brain where it won't be forgotten. So it's they're called encoded memories, which become long-term memories, and they won't be forgotten. So while you still have the disease, you're not affected by saying you don't know who you are, because you actually will know the people in your world. Now, I think that is a remarkable opportunity, because there's so much research happening in fighting the disease, but the people that are suffering from the disease, I can't imagine what that feels like. You're trapped in a cage that is your own self, right? This gives you that ability to get past that, to remember who you are, to remember who your grandchildren are, to remember who your children are. And
it makes the patient more comfortable, as well as the people around them.
Exactly.
Right.
And that trial is going to happen right here in our backyard. So we're going to be able to put our friends and family into this study, this validation. By the way, it's already done. They already have the data that shows that it works. We're just going to.
So are they doing the studies now?
We're about to begin them. We're a few weeks away from that.
That's fascinating.
It is remarkable opportunity for happening right here in our backyard.
Wow.
So when I tell you that I get to wake up every day to work with things that really improve the human condition, it's like unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to make people in my community a part of that and to share those successes and those outcomes, those miracles, it's huge. This is not like a regular job. This is
No, they are miracles, yes. Wow. Any others you can tell us about?
We work with quite a few. I think I've given you a couple of
very good ones,
spectacular
yes. I'm very excited about
I do have another one.
Okay, go ahead.
This one is really kind of cool as well. Cervical cancer. So cervical cancer, while may not be a huge problem in the U.S. because women go to doctors, but in third world countries, it is a real problem. We have in-house a do-it-yourself cervical exam that end-to-end, a woman can do it herself for 10 cents. She can.
How does it work?
It's made out of paper. It's a disposable collection device, and it's in the process of that unbiased scientific validation that we're going through the stages of getting approved and using in a third world country to do that. Imagine the amount of lives that you can
it is
save
a big killer in other countries,
when there is no economics in it anymore. It's 10 cents. It doesn't require a lab. It doesn't require a visit. It eliminates the issues of religion where, people are reluctant to have people look at them and share those privacy issues. All that goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And at 10 cents, it's a no-brainer. And it's biodegradable. You throw it out into the dump and it disintegrates.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Welcome to a day in the life.
We really could change the world with something like that.
We're changing the world with every one of these. Every one of these has such impact. And the families that reach out to me that have had members of their family die from these things say, geez, how can we help you? And we're not looking for millions of dollars in 30 years later. We're looking for, help us validate this little study. It's a couple $100,000. Your name goes on it. It says, by the way, made possible from a gift from your family. And it's tangible. You can hold it in your hand, and in 18 months, we're going to be saving people's lives. It's the most incredible. I love what I do.
That is incredible.
I can't tell you.
Yes. Wow. So, who do you need to help you? How do you? Are you looking for underwriters?
The missing piece all the time. It's all about people. We did a really good job being secretive. As an inventor, we're trained to be secretive. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. So that was a flaw of mine for a while. It's only the last maybe year and a half that I recognized my blind spot was I'm just as secretive with everyone else's stuff as I am with my own. So that had to change. We really need people that say, geez, I know who would benefit. I know the right company for this. I want to be involved and help you to make the connection to get this to a Merck or a Stryker. It's all people.
Right, sure.
So that's That's what I'm on the search for. And the great part is, this business model is not one that's selfish. It's helping so many people. Everyone gets to participate. So
Absolutely.
that's what's great about it. So everyone involved is a stakeholder. We're all rowing in the same direction. And that's remarkable. When I sit around the table with doctors that normally would never want to talk to each other, where they're now buddies and saying, well, here's what we should do, and here's what there's no ego at the table. It's like, and I sit back saying, I'm the most unqualified person to be in this room, but look what I've got going on here.
Wow.
And that's what I live for. It really, making a difference in the world is so important. And I believe I have this responsibility because
Well, how did you get started doing this? What did you do before?
I'm an inventor.
Okay. Wow.
And so my needs happen to be the needs of every inventor. So as I was crafting the plan to take down the obstacles in my way, I was clearing a pathway for everyone else. Mm-hmm. And the final stage was when we saw what we had and then we put the foundation in place, we just made it open access. And the floodgate literally opened.
So how do you learn about these innovations or inventions in other countries?
They find their way to me. We do marketing on our website is very popular. We have a relationship with the World Trade Center Organization Association, and I do speeches all through the country to people that are innovators, and I talk about our platform, and they just come because what I'm offering them is the ability of something that they can't otherwise attain. Mm-hmm. And I'm not an investment. I'm not a VC.
Right.
I don't have any judgment. I say, look, I believe you. Let's just get Johns Hopkins to say that it works. Mm-hmm. And we're off to the races.
Wow. So once these things are validated, then you would approach a company to distribute them?
So now that we've got these validated and they work and the validation is there, we're looking for the buyer that comes in and says, my goodness, this is what we want. We've got 35,000 salespeople around the world. We've got the distribution. We've got the market. We just plug this right in. We lock out everyone else from being in this industry, and they buy the rights and the license to forever own this technology. We're not in any of the businesses. So our business is fun. We're not in any of the businesses of the businesses we're in, right? If you can imagine that. So it's all about just taking the intellectual property, packaging it up, and selling it to the people that can do.
That can go ahead and distribute it.
Exactly. And get the entrepreneur out of the way and just bring the asset, which, by the way, is what they want anyway. They don't really want all the people.
So how does the original inventor benefit from this? Do they benefit financially? Do you buy them out? Or
they absolutely
the company
benefit.
that you sell to?
They benefit because we're delivering them an exit. So these people already have businesses, already have product, already have the patents approved. They already have what they have. But they've hit a glass ceiling. And now they're looking for the next layer. And the next level is, what do we do now?
What do you do with it?
Do we raise money? Can they raise money? How do they grow an organization? And then they hear about me. And I say, let's go prove that it works. And then let's go sell it. And
I
get
like
your
that you're a
payday.
third party proving that it works. They've
Right,
already
they can't
done
do
their,
that.
Right.
So I don't have the emotional component that they have. Mm-hmm. So I can put that deal together to go get that done. And then guess what? If that actually comes back and says, yeah, look, it works, the value that I get, they will never achieve because they technically can't get that unbiased scientific validation. It would be biased because they're paying for it.
Sure.
So that's the model. So then the economics are simple. They get a payout much larger than they would ever see in a traditional way. They don't have to have a heart attack getting there. And it's a very short window. We're talking less than 2 years that they're done with a payday much larger than they would expect if they were in the business for 15, 20 years.
Incredible.
Thank you.
You've been a very amazing guest. We have a couple minutes here. Do you want to tell people how to get in touch with you?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead and give your
We have a website. It's sound-health.org.
Sound-health.org.
And there we have submit an idea or get in touch with us or what have you. And I'm the most easily approachable person. My phone number is right on there. And I talk to everyone. In fact, I'm instrumental in every deal. Even though, and I tell people, look, I'm not a doctor. You're going to ask me questions I don't have the answers to, but I have the doctors that will give you the answers.
Right.
I'm just to make sure that you understand what everyone wants to achieve here. Mm-hmm. And that transparency is empowering.
Yeah,
because
sure.
Being authentic with people is really important. So I don't pretend I know everything. I don't. What I do know is I got a technology. And if you want me to add something else to prove it, tell me what that is. Give me a work order. We'll go get that vetted.
Very exciting. Okay, we're going to have to go to break here, and I have another guest coming in. So, Michael, it was very interesting talking to you. I almost can't believe what I'm hearing. Very fascinating
Thank
stuff.
you for having me on the show.
Good luck. I'm sure you're going to totally take off and
Thank you.
change a lot of things.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for coming.